This is the African News Update on top accolade news. The headlines: Ivory Coast former president stirs political waters. South Africa defends sovereignty. Angola to explore IMF financing and tax reforms. Zimbabwe's ZiG currency returns to inflation in April. We start with the focus in politics. Ivory Coast former president stirs political waters. In Ivory Coast, former President Laurent Gbagbo has launched a new political movement called Enough is Enough, vowing to stay active in the upcoming presidential election despite being barred from running due to a criminal conviction. At a weekend meeting in Abidjan, Gbagbo's African People's Party called on supporters to unite the country's disillusioned population, citing high living costs and economic inequality under this administration. Meanwhile, the race has narrowed further after a court disqualified leading opposition figure Tidjani Thiam, ruling his past dual nationality makes him ineligible. With the president yet to confirm his intentions, tensions are rising ahead of the vote. Still in politics, South Africa defends sovereignty. South Africa's ruling ANC has pushed back against U.S. criticism over its new land expropriation law, with the party chair declaring the country's sovereignty will be defended amid escalating diplomatic tensions. The dispute follows a controversial executive order by U.S. President Donald Trump, who labeled the law a threat to white Afrikaner farmers who opened the door for them to seek asylum in the U.S., claiming racial discrimination. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa insists the law promotes fair land access. Meanwhile, tensions have spilled onto social media, with Elon Musk labeling the policy racist. Turning to economy, Angola to explore IMF financing and tax reforms. Angola is facing increasing financial pressure as falling crude oil prices raise the likelihood that the country may need an International Monetary Fund loan, according to the finance minister. The government, which based its 2025 budget on an oil price of $70 per barrel, is running stress tests in response to Brent oil futures dipping below $60 and global economic turmoil. The country is exploring ways to mitigate the effect of lower oil prices through tax reform and improved property tax enforcement. Angola's bond market has also been hit hard, with yields on international bonds surging as investor confidence wanes. Despite challenges, the government remains in talks with JP Morgan and continues to consider options for securing external financing, including an IMF program. Still in economy, Zimbabwe's ZiG currency returns to inflation in April. Zimbabwe's local currency, the Zimbabwe gold, recorded a return to positive monthly inflation in April 2025, rising to 0.6% from minus 0.1% in March, according to the Zimbabwe National Statistics Agency. This brings the ZiG's consumer price index to 185.68, a significant jump from its base 100 a year ago when the currency was introduced. Year-on-year inflation for ZiG now stands at 85.7%, largely driven by October 2024 devaluation. In contrast, US dollar inflation remained modest at 0.2% month-on-month, with annual USD inflation at 14.4%. The agency also reported a weighted inflation rate, factoring in both currency, of 0.3% for April. You are watching the African News Update on Top Accolade News. Do stay with us. Still to come. Thanks for staying with us. In conflict, African migrants caught in crossfire of Yemen's long-running war. In Yemen, at least 68 African migrants have been reportedly killed and 47 injured in what Houthi authorities allege was a U.S. airstrike on a detention facility in the northern governorate. The site, which held over 100 migrants, mostly from Ethiopia, was struck on Monday with graphic footage showing the devastating aftermath. The US military has yet to comment on the incident. Yemen has long been a deadly crossroad for African migrants attempting to reach Saudi Arabia, often falling victim to violence, abuse and exploitation by both local faction and regional forces. The Houthis have been accused of profiting from migrant smuggling amid ongoing conflicts. Turning to health, Uganda declares end of latest Ebola outbreak. Uganda has officially declared the end of its latest Ebola outbreak after 42 days without any new cases. The health ministry confirmed the country has successfully contained the Sudan strain of the virus, which claimed 4 lives and infected 14 people in total. The outbreak began in the capital, Kampala, following the death of a male nurse. WHO reported that 2 of the 4 fatalities were confirmed Ebola cases, while the other 2 were classified as probable. Uganda has been battling Ebola outbreaks since 2000, with most being quickly contained due to swift intervention. A clinical trial for an experimental vaccine is underway to protect health workers and those at risk. Uganda's dense tropical forests remain a natural reservoir for the virus, making the nation vulnerable to future outbreaks. Moving to entertainment, Headies 2025 celebrates African music and humanitarian impact. The 17th edition of the Headies Awards, held at the landmark event center in Lagos, celebrated the best of African music with standout performances and major wins for stars like Tems, Rema, Flavour and Davido. Tems took home the Best Recording of the Year award for her soulful track Burning and captivated audience with a powerful performance. Rema continued his reign in Afrobeat scene, winning Album of the Year for He Is, while his hit Ozeba earned London the Producer of the Year title. Flavour's Big Baller claimed Afrobeat Single of the Year, and Davido was recognized as Best Digital Artist for the digital impact and streaming dominance. The night also saw Odumodu Black win the next rated award, while Tanzania's Juma Jux was named Best East African Artist. The event featured appearances by celebrities, influencers and dignitaries, including the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu. The 17th Headies affirmed its role as a premier stage for celebrating African music excellence. Now in sports, Kenya's Sebastian Sawe wins first major marathon. Kenya's Sebastian Sawe delivered a dominant performance to win the London Marathon in just his first appearance at a major, pulling away from the pack with 10 kilometers to go and finishing in a stunning 2 hours, 2 minutes, 27 seconds, despite unusually warm conditions. That concludes our African news update for today. Stay tuned for more African news and development. Thanks for joining us. I am Ojarumi Okucha. Connect and engage with us on all our social media handles. Do have a wonderful day.